Hey there, are you aware that the Earth wasn't always just a ball of green and blue rock? In fact, it was just an orange rock once. Anyways, I'm here to lecture you about how everything that you know about is wrong. For instance, this blue and green rock is orange, like this in the image I've shown you. Anyways, that's pretty cool, but where did life come from? As with anything related to Earth, it obviously comes from an explosion, particularly an asteroid. So basically, just other flying ball of rocks comes and hits our flying ball of rocks and makes a second, even bigger flying ball of rocks. This creates the moon after the fragments all go suddenly flying out into space, clumping together, creating what we now call the moon. Anyways, somehow or another, this caused a bunch of volcanoes to exist, and this created our first single cellular organisms. They all feed by munching off of little volcanoes. What, you don't see them? That's because you have to go so zoomed in that not even the naked eye can see it. Let's go zoom in with the power of magic real quick. You see that? That's what we consider a single cellular organism, and in the industry, the thing on the back is what we call a flagella. The flagella is what it uses to propel itself forward. And it does that too. It duplicates itself asexually via, not quite sure. Anyway, the homeless guy on the street told me that if I put these two together, it'll probably create a multicellular organism. Anyways, immediately 4 billion years later, we're at 500 million BC. And we start getting the first multicellular organisms. These new multicellular organisms, not too long later, began developing modern things such as vertebrates that you can find in many common creatures of today. Around the same time that all these multicellular creatures started taking place, they also started breeding sexually. Not too long later, unfortunately, these species went extinct in one of the many mass extinctions that Earth will go through. Because apparently, I don't buy it for a second, but you need oxygen to live? I don't know. Anyways, a much larger version of these multicellular organisms start taking place. Unfortunately, they went extinct. And then they came back again, and again they go extinct. So, honestly, these dolphins and stingrays looking things don't really have very much of a good chance, I guess. Approximately 440 million years ago, we started seeing our first land mammals. Obviously, they were all amphibious, as they had not quite evolved to put their eggs on land, meaning that they are unable to stay on land only for the meantime. Some of these first amphibious animals look like some 5-year-old decided to draw them. Like the Dimetrodon, for instance. It looks like some 5-year-old just decided to say, I want to draw a bear, but with a mohawk on the back. Anyways, these things went extinct pretty quickly because apparently it's not a good idea to have heat stroke and also have no oxygen in your atmosphere. I don't know though, I still don't buy it. Anyways, towards the early Jurassic period, we start finding the velociraptors, but they're only about 4 feet tall, so not exactly what you'd see in Jurassic Park. Anyways, like everything else, it went extinct due to too much heat. At this point, I found it kind of unsettling as to how many creatures went extinct due to the amount of heat in their atmosphere, but I'm sure it's nothing to be worried about. Anyways, much like how in the Cold War both Russia and America tried growing their size of nukes, so did the animals during the Cretaceous period, going from a measly 4 feet tall to a giant 15 feet tall for just an average sized creature. The difference between these creatures and the Cold War analogy is that one actually did end a massive explosion, causing a mass extinction. I'm not sure why we didn't get a new moon, though. That would have been pretty cool if you asked me, but I didn't make the rules, I guess. I'll be the end of this video, so maybe one day I'll talk about humans, but they're pretty boring, so I'm not sure.